Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin. We're going to take a quick peek at obviously some back-end stuff, high block capital data, more so liquidation levels, open interest, those whole things there. It's quite interesting to see. We're also going to take a look at a little bit of macro and kind of just what Elliott wave is telling us here based on this potential head and shoulders pattern that we have. Okay, so if you're new channel, not a financial advisor, love to teach people to trade, go ahead and check out our website, cryptocash.tech, if you want to become a better trader. I have a trading academy community and signals group. We also have an awesome Twitter community here as well, growing each and every day, along with some nice giveaways here this month for our partnership with BitGet. So be sure to check that out too. If you use that link to register, you can qualify for some benefits through the community. So that being said, what we're going to look at is some standard stuff. Let's go ahead and jump right into high block capital data, kind of see what's going on. And first of all, just to kind of clarify, to preface here, the amount or just the magnitude that we're seeing here in the last 24 hours, we have seen an increase of just over 10% from Bitcoin. Okay, so this time yesterday morning, 27,300 was retesting multiple times. It was due to break down. And of course, we had this little kind of descending trend line that we were kind of wondering, hey, is it going to break above or below? Something volatile is going to happen. Well, it sure did. It took off and never looked back, which is a really nice sign, of course, for a lot of our portfolios. But, unfortunately, some of those who shorted, which we did short a little bit yesterday in the 28,000 range, got stopped out. But hey, that's the way it goes. Had to manually cancel that trade, and it's all good. That's part of the process. But simply put here, it's on fire, and we want to see roughly how much further it's going to go, right? So let's look and see if there's anything we can extract here. So we've got a lot of shorts are liquidated here, of course, a tremendous amount. We haven't seen that kind of activity since April 23rd, which was roughly a week ago. And what we're looking at here, of course, is open interest is, well, actually, no, not open interest, global bid-ask spread ratio here. Take a look at this. This is interesting. We finally have more people wanting to buy than sell right now. This is very, I wouldn't say unusual, but it's less common in the last month or two, or this year for the most part. I mean, you can see that's back in January there was the last time we saw any kind of buying. So it's really cool to kind of have that offset there. That tells us that we might be back on track here, and that 30,000 could be the new bottom. Okay, now we'll double check that on the charts, but generally speaking, that's what it's looking like. You can also see a tremendous amount of liquidations here at the 28,300 upwards of 29,900 range. And coincidentally, that price wicked up right at that exactly to 30,050. Isn't it funny how the price always goes just like a few dollars above a specific round number? That's why you always want to put your stop losses just above that level if you can, so you don't get stopped out. But on the same accord, maybe it's sometimes a good thing if you get stopped out, because then if it keeps running like it did, you're good to go. We had to manually cancel one of our trades here today, and that's perfectly fine. That's how it goes. But hadn't we done that, we would have had a lot more severe of a loss. Okay, so kind of cool that worked out that way, but that's just kind of how trading goes, right? So let's take a quick look at net longs here. First of all, what we want to look at is that our longs are in the green. They are all averaged out about 29,000. So the most amount of longs are between 28,800 and 29,000, and there's a few late longs here as well. Now, with shorts, there's a good chance that they're underwater, which they are. Most amount of shorts are at 28,700. And obviously upwards of a 29,000. So most people expected 29,000 to be the top because that was a Fibonacci retracement level, and it really realistically should have been. But it wasn't. Somebody else had a better plan in mind and took the market and just took off with it. So again, cool stuff to see that. That really helps us understand that we have a lot of rejections, or supposed to be rejections here at 29,000. So that could reaffirm itself as a new support. Okay. So the bottom line here is that this Fibonacci retracement level didn't do a darn thing. 29,000 did not hold. It just blasted straight through that. Okay, so what we want to look at here is the daily, kind of work our way down. So just really quick to note, we have a MACD convergence on the horizon. So that's a very positive sign. That shifts bullish. We are good to go. Ideally, we're going to be closing at 30,000 or higher. And of course, have this MACD fully converged. Regarding the actual RSI, we're back up over 50 in the RSI soundly. That was a very clean break. So that was my original thought process to, if we can close above that, that would be a very good sign. That would be positive. And that is essentially what we're looking at there for that. So that is good in that regard. Another thing too is we blasted right straight through the simple moving average, the 20-day SMA. The 50 did hold very strong, just like a champ, and we can kind of see that the green one here, that's the 20-day SMA, that's really a trend setter. So if we can close above that, I think we'll be doing pretty decent. Honestly, we're going to be doing decent anyway. You look at it because we just had that massive inflow of volume, and it just keeps on coming. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, what we had unusual activity in 14 minutes. We had $2 billion traded on Binance futures alone. That is insane. We sent that out as a tweet last night, of course, but generally speaking, when those things happen, you got to hold on to your pants, right? So just be careful how that works out. All right, so what we want to look at also here is Elliott wave, and just kind of talk about this here, because this is something that's important to note, because with Elliott wave, it's really good about giving you different patterns, right? So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the way up. I think I've covered that previously, but if you're new, establishing higher highs and higher lows, and usually once you hit a 5, that's the highest point in which it'll go, and then it's followed by an ABC pattern, okay? So we got our A here, the bottom is obviously in for that downtrend, and what's supposed to happen is there's supposed to be a lower high and a lower low to follow, okay? So hypothetically, we see this head and shoulders pattern, right? You got the head, shoulders, the price should come down from here. Okay, so do not be surprised if the price comes back down to retest 27,000, possibly even lower. That is a potential reality. Okay, now is it is it a firm reality right now? No, definitely not. That could be completely nullified here soon with a closure above 31,000. But leading into that, I would just be mindful and prepared for the fact that that could occur. We might have one more last downtrend before our next leg up. Okay, so that's kind of what I was expecting to happen, albeit I expect this to happen within a few days, not just all in one day. So again, that's kind of how it works. The market will continue to surprise you, but congratulations, we woke up to a green portfolio, right? All right, so that being said, we're looking at the 4 hour. Just to quickly summarize here, we're over 70 on the RSI, very overextended. MACD is still converging. These are all bullish signs here, but there's going to be a point in which it's got to slow down, right? So TD sequential, we're at a 7. Realistically, when we hit a 9, we're supposed to turn around. Now, that doesn't always happen. Okay, it can continue. But that being said, we're at a 7 right now. We have roughly 8 more hours of continuation potential for the upside. And if we were to do so, we'd probably reject at 30,000 and come back down. Okay, so keep in mind, it's no coincidence that these Fibonacci retracement levels are at round numbers and the price action is waking up perfectly to those levels. Like it's uncanny how that's working out. In fact, if we take a look at the 1 minute, you can see when the price wicked up here, it's almost exactly 30,000, just right there perfectly, and just turns itself right around. So anyone who got a stop loss at 30,000 just got stopped out, and it just keeps on going the other direction. It's just interesting and funny how that works out. So again, it's good to use good risk management and to make sure that your stop losses are comfortably within range instead of too far out. So on the hourly, last thing we want to look at here, of course, is TD sequential and kind of see. This is that overextension I'm talking about. The price should have stopped right here, right at the 28,300 mark, which is roughly where we had our short stop or our short in place. Price continued to work itself into a wedge and just blasted off into the hemisphere. Okay, so we got that extra little push. What was that? That was about a 6% push in about 4 hours. So that definitely hit a lot of shorts very hard, and that's just kind of the way that it goes right now. And there wasn't a lot of selling pressure, honestly. It just, the price continued to run. If you look at the volume, even though there was a lot of volume coming in, it's not that much compared to previous. I mean, it was a lot, don't get me wrong, at this one point, but leading into it, there really wasn't a lot. So it's just an interesting thing. All right, so enough about that. The last thing we want to summarize is just the fact that we're above the cloud. We have all green lights here to leave your long position open if you have one. Don't bother closing it. You're better off just waiting it out and essentially allowing it to do its thing. What we're going to want to pay attention to, though, is just some levels here. First of all, on the daily, what we want to pay attention to is a closure either above or below 30,000. Okay. Obviously, a closure below 30,000 seems relevant and more, realistic at this point. So I would recommend waiting if you're going to take a long or a short at this point. Obviously, keep your long positions open because they are in profit. You might want to consider trimming a little bit. It wouldn't hurt, but for lack of better terms here, 31,000 is the top, 30,000 is the most recent high here. That's about our 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. And the price action could and should very well come back down to retest at least 29.5, possibly 29,000, and then try to stay in this range. There's really no telling what's going to happen because a lot of times when these prices work into this kind of ascending type of pattern, there could be a continuation. We may even see a third green day here, followed by a fourth red day. Okay, you saw that previously here with our 3 white soldiers. It's the same thing that could occur. We are 2 out of 3 green days here. Wouldn't be surprised if price continues to push to try to pass 30,000 and then consolidate at that support. That'd be awesome if it did, because then we'd be able to get that leg up and go from there, and we wouldn't even worry about our head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so again, still a little premature and early to tell, but I hope this was beneficial and helpful for you. Obviously, if you like what you saw here, consider joining. CryptoCash.tech is a site, link down below. We have a lot of new members coming on over. And again, help us grow our Twitter community here, of course. Really awesome to be able to kind of bring all this relevant data to you. We're we're just flooding the market, making sure we make sure to get you guys as much as you can, knowledge and otherwise, right? Even some meme coins are on there too. All right, so thanks again for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.